What's up, horror fans? Danny here from the LaserCast, home from day 2 of New York Comic-Con on Friday the 13th. What better day to celebrate the legacy of maybe the greatest horror director of all time? And I don't even think that hyperbole is hyperbolic. We're talking about the horror master himself, John Carpenter. The man needs no introduction. I can give you a list of his films, from Halloween to The Thing to They Live to The Fog, but I can just stop there. From the late 70s into the early 90s, this man built a resume in the genre work, from horror to sci-fi to post-apocalyptic or futuristic genre filmmaking that is pretty much untouched. You know, on the Mount Rushmore of horror directors, most of you are going to have Carpenter there. If you're of a certain vintage, if you're my age, if you're in your early 40s, his movies pretty much defined your launch pad into the genre. At New York Comic-Con Day 2, they had a John Carpenter Spotlight panel, and I was there with about 750 other Comic-Con guests up in room 405 at the Javits Center. And this first video that you're going to watch is just a few minutes of John coming on and having, you know, a conversation with the moderator in the John Carpenter Spotlight. I interviewed some writers and authors and artists who worked in Storm King Comics over the last few years, and they said that, you know, getting to work with John Carpenter was one of the great experiences of their lives. But one thing that I learned from them was, for a man who has made as many great films as John Carpenter has, he does not like talking about them, and he's not very shy with that. John Carpenter comes across as really a kind of just curmudgeon-y old man for this panel. And I say that in the nicest and most sincere possible way, because he has this unbelievable charm to him while he's being kind of grouchy. The crowd loved it, and after only about 5 minutes, which this video is that you're about to watch, he basically just says, let's hear from the crowd. They're here to talk to me. I want to take questions from the crowd. And he spent the next 30 some odd minutes doing basically just a back and forth Q&A in this hall. It was fantastic. I had such a great time. It is, for the first 2 days of Comic-Con, it is the highlight for me, just to be there listening to him talk. You know, even as his cynical self, he comes across, like I said, in this incredibly charming and really funny way. So enjoy this video. This is about 5 minutes of John Carpenter in the John Carpenter Spotlight, and stay tuned to the LaserCast, because I'm going to have another video coming up soon with about 15 minutes of John Carpenter just taking fan questions live at Comic-Con. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you stay tuned for more LaserCast LaserCast New York Comic-Con footage. I have a video up reviewing the advanced screening that we got of Chucky Season 3, Episode 3 yesterday. Make that Thursday, Day 1. We got a glimpse at the new Strangers trilogy, which is coming out in 2024 from director Renny Harlin. So please check those videos out. Like the video, subscribe to our channel. So much fun stuff. Pete and I are going to be reviewing Mike Flanagan's The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix soon, and tons of other movies up on the channel. So enjoy this John Carpenter Spotlight, and we'll see you very soon.
There was a bunch of movies. I grew up loving horror and science fiction films when I was a kid. Some of my earliest memories are horror and science fiction. So I love the question. As a matter of fact, all of them, even
Yeah.
What's your favorite horror movie, guys?
The Thing!
Other than anything I've done. You like Jordan?
George!
He's a good director, isn't he?
Yeah, somebody said Suspiria. Suspiria, somebody said Suspiria.
Yeah. Great movie. All right.
What were some of the ones that like still stand out to you? Like what's one that like maybe not you wouldn't ever get tired of watching it, but close to that?
Well, I love watching this movie, She's Ass movie, too, in 1959 called The Fly. It was so cool. Oh, man. So the scientist, this wife's husband, teleports and gets the flies mixed in with his molecules anyway. The wife thinks that he's fine now and pulls off the hood, and there's this fly head. Man, my popcorn went flying. Right out of it.
Would you say that was your big, that's like your most memorable movie scary movie?
Just one of them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, let's talk about your horror movies, if that's okay. You're all right with that.
I can't talk about my own film, but that's okay.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to scratch about 90% of this.
Yeah.
Okay. We're just talking about what we're watching on TV. Well, my favorite of your movies is In the Mouth of Madness. See, I tricked you. Yeah. And that movie is set in New England, as so much horror stuff is. What do you think about New England is so scary?
I have no clue. No clue. The story I told was really a kind of a Lovecraftian story.
Yeah.
Where all these monsters from beyond and all that stuff. As a matter of fact, my wife has a comic company that's right near here, and we have one of the monsters there from the Mouth of Madness. The little meatball. He's go see him. Everybody, really.
Do you want to talk about Storm King comics, by the way?
No.
Okay, so, I mean, New England, man, in what you've done, there's so much of a sense of, like, place. And I was wondering, how do you make sure that a sense of place comes through in a movie when you're not shooting there?
How do I make sure it comes through?
Yeah. How do you get that feel?
Well, man, I trained for this. I went to film school. They trained me. I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah. And on everything, right? Like, you didn't just train as a writer-director, you trained as all.
Good. I did. I did train. Yes, I did.
And one of the people that you listened to lecture was Orson Welles.
That's right.
What was Orson Welles like as a lecturer?
He was shooting this movie called On the Side of the Wind. And he wanted to get some footage of students asking dumb questions. There we were. It's like to play down everything. We called it, in those days, MOS, mid-out sound. And he said, we never referred to it that way. We called it silent shot. Come on, man. Jive us up. That's all I have.
Okay. Was there anything from him that you, I don't know, feel like you really incorporated, like something that really stuck that you incorporated in your stuff?
What's that? With Orson Welles?
Yes.
No, for a while, his was the greatest movie of all.
Yeah.
Citizen Kane, for a while.